It says I am. All right, there we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our wellness hour. And today we're going to be talking about food labels, and I've added some facts about food ingredients as well. I'm Trey. I'm an exercise specialist over here at 600 Canal Fitness Center. And let's go ahead and get started with our food label presentation. So, first off, we know about food labels. Gives you a snapshot. Well, really supposed to give you all of the nutrition facts about the food that you're eating. So, food labels are really essential, and we honestly do not pay enough attention to the food labels. Food labels tell us exactly what's in the food, how much of a value was in the food based on a 2,000 calorie diet as well. But it really does give you everything you really need to know if you're following a diet plan, or honestly just trying to make the healthier choices in your diet and your everyday life eating. Even if you don't want to think about it too much, it is essential for us, because the way just our world works, a lot of the foods that are processed and sold are just terrible for us, and we don't really know how to really navigate that because we weren't really taught. So here are some tips that could hopefully help you out. All right, let's start here. So in the past, our food label has changed. For a little bit, over on the left over here, our food label looked like this for most of our lives. And it still has all the same information, but just a little different once you get to the bottom section with all of your vitamins. It's changed over, so the vitamins that are listed are the vitamins that are missing through are deficient in most American diets. So vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium are some of those vitamins that are listed over here on this right side. But when you look over at the old label, the original label on the left side, you just get vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron, where they've added vitamin D, taken out vitamin A, because that's a vitamin we get dietarily in the States a lot. So at the top of your nutrition facts label, you have your servings per container and then your serving size. And a lot of original labels are still out there. You kind of have to look for both, and they just give you the same information. Like your serving size for this particular product is 2/3 of a cup, or 55 grams. That 55 grams really helps if you use a food scale. It's a great tool for you to use. Oh, gotta go back. All right. And then you have your amount of calories. And then all of the percentages are based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So a lot of people just assume they're on a 2,000 calorie diet. And that's not necessarily true. It is a baseline that we like to use because it's a nice clean number that we can easily divide and break down. But calorie calorie needs are literally different from person to person based on your size, based on your goals, your activity levels, all things like that. So when you see that daily value, just remember it's all based on 2,000 calorie diet. All right. So you have, but over to the left, you have your grams. So you do get a little bit more of a straight up and down value of what is in the product. So in this product, there are 8 grams of fat, but then it breaks down to trans fat and saturated fat. There isn't a lot of trans fat in too many nowadays because we've understood how terrible they are for us, but you still have saturated fats. And your saturated fats chiefly come from animal products. And you can usually tell those because your fats are solid at room temperature. So usually like the fat that comes out of something after you've cooked it and you've let it cool down to room temperature and you see that thick layer, that's saturated fat coming out of the food. There's zero cholesterol, 160 grams of sodium, 37 grams of carbohydrates. And now here we go with another breakdown between dietary fiber and total sugars. And we all understand your total sugars are a vast part of your carbs and your excuse me, and a direct relation to weight gain. So you have, it says right here, there's 12 grams of total sugars, but it includes 10 grams of added sugars. So these added sugars, anytime you see something added, that means that they literally took sugar and poured it into the mix while creating this product, and it's not coming from the actual food and fiber. It's not a natural sugar, it's added. So, and then 3 grams of protein. And then under that, you have your micrograms and measurements of the vitamins that you get from the food. And that's also one part where just because you are getting your vitamins from your food, or you think, oh, I don't eat well, I have to take a vitamin, it's not always going to work the same way for you. Like a lot of people have the conception, oh, well, I take vitamins, so my levels should be fine. I get what I need. It's not necessarily the case. You're taking a supplement that is supposed to pick up the slack essentially from your diet. And a lot of vitamins don't get absorbed. Your food, any nutrients coming from food is absorbed much better than vitamin. All right, so I picked a candy bar. I picked a Snickers bar. So this label came off the box, I believe, the big box with 48 bars in it. Because 48 servings per container, and 1 bar is a serving. So that's 51 grams in weight, 250 calories. Everything we kind of expected. Let's look at the carbohydrates. Oh, sodium, 90 milligrams of sodium, and that's probably coming from your peanuts. Then you have total carbohydrates. Your dietary fiber, 2 grams of dietary fiber, and total sugar is 25 grams. But then you see added sugars. This is just added sugar that isn't really coming from your ingredients, from your chocolate, from your nuts. This is just sweeteners. They could be artificial. They could be raw cane sugar. It usually says that and advertises that because raw cane sugar is better than any artificial sweetener for you. So 23 grams of added sugars, 46% of a daily value for a 2,000 calorie diet. So that's 50% of your sugars almost in 1 bar, and it's added sugars, and it's not a good dietary sugar either. So it's not going to have the same dietary value. You won't absorb it, and it's not going to do anything for you. And then once you get down here to your vitamins, it barely has anything for you in your vitamins. So this is why candies like a chocolate bar, like a Snickers bar, is just seemed as empty calories. You're consuming 250 calories, but you're not necessarily getting anything out of it that's beneficial for you. I am moving too fast. All right, so here is.
Also, I think Joe had a question. Did you see that?
Oh, I did not.
Maybe she can clarify. It says, do they remove
I can ask you. It's all from me. So the first question is about, let me see, what's the first question? I forgot. Oh, you said the label has changed. That like they add the vitamin D and remove the A and C. So my question is, do they remove all this A and C from all the labels?
From the newer labels, not all of the labels, but most of your newer labels, it's not required to have vitamin A and vitamin C on there anymore because you get them so much from other foods and everything through the research done by FDA. They find that a lot of people are already sufficient or get too much. They have a very, very high value, but your calcium, your vitamin D, are things that are a constant low for the American public based on research. So they decided, let's put these on the nutrition list because people need to concentrate on these.
Okay, and also like when you talk about sodium, I
Mhm.
noticed that a lot of snacks are very high in sodium, especially the chips, right? So I
Yes, there.
just wonder why like nobody or FDA doesn't notice anything about that, because sodium is very bad to our health, right? Increase the blood
Yes.
pressure, things like that. Why did nobody has ever improved that?
It's. I mean, I know it's really, it seems easy to us because it's so obvious. It's right there in front of us, and now we're sitting here like, why didn't they change that? Because it's a money grab. Sodium and salt, it drives flavor. A lot of people love salty as their snack. So because, oh, this is what the masses want, we'll keep it salty.
Yeah, make
And
you eat more, right?
exactly, makes you
And
eat
then
more, makes you drink more.
make you more overweight. So that's like the bad circle. I wish there is a place that I can call to ask. Maybe I will call like Lay's or something, like ask them to reduce the sodium level. I know chips are in general is not good healthy food, but sometimes you need to have something like that. But whenever
Yes.
I eat those, it's very tasty. And the third question is about sugar. So the
Hmm.
sugar listed on the label means the natural sugar is not the like sweets or anything like that. It's the natural sugar.
Yeah, so in that, like, on the label for the Snickers bar, go back right back to that. Label for the Snickers bar, the total sugars was 25 grams,
Right.
but then it's right under it on a subline, it says includes 23 grams of added sugars. So
Right.
those added sugars, it's like when when you're making cookies and you mix stuff in a bowl and they just dumped in added sugar to make the whole bar taste better. So it could take some sweeteners in there as well.
So the sugar is not necessarily mean the pure sugar. Maybe it's some splendid or something like that.
Exactly, and that's what we're about to see next on this
Wow,
next
that's
slide.
bad. Okay. Okay.
Perfect
Thank you.
timing.
Go ahead.
All right, so perfect timing from Joe with that question. So we're looking over here now at the ingredient list. So the first one is milk chocolate. On your ingredient list, your ingredients that are listed from top to bottom, whatever is listed first, close to the front, it goes most to least in your ingredients. So the biggest ingredient in here is milk chocolate, and then it breaks it down how the milk chocolate is made: sugar, cocoa butter. I probably didn't pronounce that right. There you go. Chocolate, skim, and it says milk, and then it goes on to tell you lactose, milk fat is in there, and then after soy lecithin is artificial flavor. So with all of that, there's already artificial flavor in just that first ingredient because all of that's in parentheses. So with just that first ingredient, the artificial flavor more than likely has some artificial sugars in it, like you said, a Splenda or some type of sweetener in it. Because as we go on further, you find artificial flavor at the bottom again, and that's more than likely sweetener, some type of artificial sweetener, which isn't listed. All right, so the next we are going to look at is Cheerios. This one, we all know Cheerios, fairly healthy. And what's different about this label is they added an option for you to see what it's like if you added 125 milliliters of 2% milk. So it does add that in because, of course, that's how we eat cereal. And it gives you your values for all of that. And then see at the bottom of this list, when it starts with the vitamins, Cheerios has a lot of vitamins in it. So you have a very long list, and then you have a few excuse me, then you have a few others above that. You have a few others like your fats, zero cholesterol, a little bit of sodium. And like Carla said in the chat, sodium also preserves food. So it's a longer shelf life. So it plays into, of course, capitalism a little bit more, where longer shelf life, I can leave it there for longer, it can sell. All right, so what I really want to look at here is the ingredients. You have first ingredient, whole grain oat. Great, that's what we're looking for. Whole grains, awesome. All right, move on. Modified cornstarch. So the first thing you want to think is modified. Why isn't it just cornstarch? What's modified about it? What's different? It could be enriched with nutrients, could be sweetened. You have to do your research. And that's the biggest part about nutrition facts, is that because of how food became into a money grab, we have to do our research, because you get certain things, you end up with ingredients that you don't know what they are because you can't even pronounce them. And it's because it's a chemical that was made in a lab. So when it comes to your ingredient list, you want to keep it simple. If you can't recognize the ingredients, that means that there's a lot of additives and a lot going on in that mix of food. So all right, so after cornstarch, there's regular cornstarch as well. You have your sugar, salt, trisodium phosphate. So that's a sodium phosphate, but also, is that better than just any other sodium phosphate? Is it better for me? Does my body break it down a little bit more? We don't know exactly, coming from the common person that's just going to buy it off the shelf. So we honestly have to do our research. And honestly, Google's there. It's perfect. And some of these things, and there's a lot of resources all over the internet that breaks it down for you very simply, because all these words are used so you don't do the research. So you just give up and say, oh, well, I'll just eat it anyway because I know what it is. Oh, and then it also has a vitamin and mineral list as well down below, and it gives you the common names for your vitamins as well. All right, so this label is from a popcorn bag. It was salty and sweet and salty kettle corn. I forgot the name brand of it, but it's pretty good. I'm not a kettle corn person, but this one got me. And of course, I had to read the nutrition facts on it. So you have about 28 grams in a package. And so, yeah, about 28 grams in a package. So that comes out to about an ounce of popcorn in a package. So it's very easy for you to measure and weigh. It's already in most things, most healthier choices are usually portioned out in a very easy way for you to measure. So when you go down the list and look at it, your total fat, 8 grams of total fat, your saturated fat is only 0.5 grams, and your polyunsaturated fat and monounsaturated fat are 2.5 and 4.5. So we want to pay attention to the saturated fat up here, and usually that's higher in a lot of other snacks and products, but at the same time, this is that same fat that causes us so many problems. So we want to pay attention to that, and we think, okay, we know it comes mostly from animal products. So how can we pay attention to that? And we look at the ingredients: popcorn, sunflower oil, cane sugar, sea salt. All these are very familiar things, and I don't see any animal products. So it's going to come from some vegetable products too, but this is very, very good as far as the snack realm goes, and thinking about nutrition wise and a lot of things like that, because of, look at the ingredient list. Like we said, we want to keep it simple and recognizable. Popcorn, sunflower oil, cane sugar, sea salt. 4 ingredients makes a great snack, and we recognize all these things. That's the biggest thing. We know what we're putting in our body. All right, this one is from a Cliff Bar. So Cliff Bars are usually considered to be healthier snack options, but there's a fall to them. And it's really about the sugars. So let's go ahead and take a look. Carbs, dietary dietary fiber, 4 grams, sugars, 9 grams. But when you really look at it from protein, carb kind of balance, it's not much balance. There's barely any protein in it and a lot more carbs. But many people will try to consume these with the idea of, oh, I'm getting good, clean protein when there's actually not much protein. It's just carbs. This particular snack, a Cliff Bar, was really designed to be for on trails, climbs, outdoorsy things that you just need energy to get through, almost like a pit stop. It wasn't really supposed to be for the purpose of protein and nutrition. It was just really supposed to be that quick, cleaner energy that you could carry, and it excuse me, and it followed through with a lot of dietary restrictions on a lot of people. But when you look at this ingredient list, you can really, it says organic everywhere up and down this thing. So everything organic is what we'd like to have in our diet. And we can understand and read all of this plain and simple. Mostly anything that kind of seems, never heard that. I kind of want to see what this is. Most of it is organic and it's good for you. And then when you come down to your vitamin and minerals list, that's a nice long list. So that does help out. And that's one of the quick first glance ways you can tell if something could be actually nutritious for you. Take a look at the vitamins and minerals. If it's a longer list, you see things that you recognize, you probably do have a good snack. All right, and we had to, of course, address drinks because around the office, you definitely see plenty of sodas, plenty of drinks. I know Diet Coke is a favorite of many people, definitely not myself. So, nutrition facts are pretty terrible because it's a soda. So, zero calories. I wonder how. Sodium is 40 milligrams of sodium, and it says 0 added sugars. Okay, let's check out what is actually in this. Carbonated water is the first. Caramel color is the second. Can someone read the third? Because I don't. Phosphoric acid. That's not supposed to be in a body.
I think
Potassium. Go ahead.
aspartame is known to yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's just generally bad for you. And then potassium benzoate sounds like a medication. To protect the taste. It's literally just telling you this is only in there to protect the taste. It says natural flavor, citric acid, and then something, it gives you a warning for what it contains. So I'm pretty sure that is an artificial sweetener that doesn't actually have sugar in it. And that's how they can say it's 0 sugar in this, I'm pretty sure, or low sodium. But this just deters me for the simple fact of when I read this, it says, what is this? I can't even tell what that is. It's not a food that I've seen, anything like that. And if you do your research, let's do it now, just like we're in the store. I'm just going to go to Google and type in that very last word contains. And Google finished it for me, thank God. Yep, artificial sweetener, equal natural sweet, and added to many, many medications and diet foods. So that's what that is. And you're not getting any source of fat, saturated fat, nothing, cholesterol, no fiber, no sugars, no vitamins whatsoever. You're getting carbonated water, sugar, and color. That's it. So, and then because people feel a certain way, because it says 0 calories, you're not doing anything but dehydrating yourself as well. So, food label is a definite example of a food label dump. And that's all I have for you today. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, for the Coke, it says only has sodium, no sugar or anything. So the taste must be salty one.
Not well. It has a different taste from regular Coke. I mean, I'm not sure. It almost just tastes unsweet to me. Like there's no sweetness to it to me. So, but I don't like the taste in general.
Okay, so is that the Diet Coke? It doesn't say
Yeah,
that. It's
that
that.
one is Diet Coke.
Hmm.
And I just picked that one because I know that's a favorite among many people. And you definitely see that in the office a lot, specifically
Actually,
that.
that is not good. I mean, like in general, Coke is not good at all. Right?
Yeah,
It has a
sodas
lot of
aren't that great for you because of the sugar content, but you have a
yeah,
high sugar content with nothing else.
and yeah, also it's acidic. I believe.
Very
Like
acidic.
it's very bad to your teeth, also.
Oh, very bad for your teeth, your organs.
Yeah.
Coke and Diet Coke, you can clean battery terminals with it. You can clean
Right.
bathrooms
Exactly.
with it. It should be in your
Clean
body.
the toilet.
Yes, even the toilet.
Yeah. So any suggestions on this kind of food that you think will help lower blood pressure? As I told Carla that
Yeah.
my goal this year is try to reduce the blood pressure.
So what you want to stay away from is you want to pay attention to that sodium. Everything that's lower
Right.
in sodium, you want to pay
Yeah.
attention to because that's why Coca-Cola advertised that on the bottle, even though that's the only somewhat healthy thing. It's low sodium. So they knew, okay, people look for that. Let's aim for that. So they on all of your products that have low sodium options, that is a good one. Also in prep your own meal preparation, just
Mm-hmm.
anything that calls for a measure of salt, go ahead and cut that in half. It's not going to taste, it should taste close to the same as well. That's just a little tip that I've heard myself, like, or cut salt out from cooking all the way, but I don't know about that.
Thank you.
I'm glad I can answer. Do you have any more questions? And yes, of course, exercise, increasing that heart rate is another way, the physical one physical way to
Wow, that's great to know. Like increase your heart rate will reduce blood pressure because I noticed that every day when I measure my blood pressure, sometimes I notice my blood pressure is lower than normal because than the higher pressure. But I noticed that heartbeat is higher. So I thought, oh, maybe heartbeat higher will help reduce. So here it is. Thanks, Jane, for that information.
yeah, you don't want to
Yes.
maintain that high heart rate, but just getting it up for exercise and then coming back down to homeostasis
So
conditions
does
you.
that mean that if I run, like keep running for a few minutes, then measure my blood pressure is going to be lower? Because at that time my heart rate will be higher.
Oh, well, within training, while you have to come back down, let your body calm back down. But of course, within training over a period of time, your resting blood pressure becomes lower because you become healthier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And and then a lot of your seasonings as well, seasoning aisle as well, have seasonings that are purposely low sodium because the American public, we have such a problem with higher blood pressure and higher cholesterol readings and things of that nature.
Gosh.
Right. All right. So I'm all done and we don't have any more questions. We'll go ahead and close it out. Thanks you guys for coming. And I hope to see you on the next Wellness Hour. All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.